everybody. It's Man Alone. We're back, and I just had to record today because I made a visit to my friendly local game store. And look, uh, if we're going to be best friends, you and I, we have to be honest with one another. And part of being honest means that I let you know when I made the boneheaded purchase of the year, and it's very early in the year. And so the fact that I've already made a boneheaded purchase, it's good because we kind of get that over with. So I went to my friendly local game store, FLGS, and spent about an hour browsing. And it was one of those outings that I just could not find anything that I was very excited about. And if you've ever been in that position, sometimes you'll try to like convince yourself you're excited to something. Convince yourself you want to buy something you don't need. I at one point had Forbidden Lands, like the box set in my hand, but I already have the PDF of that. And so I was like, I don't really know. Like, it's $50. Do I want to spend this? And then finally, I reached this point in which it's like one of the only satisfying points you can get to when you can't quite find what you're looking for at the game store, which is you say, you know what? I don't have to get anything. I'm just going to save money. I'll save money until something better comes along. I don't need to buy something every time. And so I'm walking out of the store. I'm about to leave. And then I go, yeah, but I should get a little something, like a little treat for myself. It's kind of like when you're a kid, you go to a birthday party, you want just a little treat. So I did leave with two little treats. And the first one, very boring. I just got some plastic glue because I'm building up a Necron army. And need a little bit more glue. And the second thing I got is one of the stupidest purchases I've ever made in my life. Now, I'm going to show it to you, and at first you're going to go, that's not that bad. But it's bad. Let me explain why. So what I ended up getting was a official Dragonbane dice set. It is 6 die that are used in the game. And I thought, hey, this might not be so bad because, yes, of course, I already have Dragonbane dice. But, when I'm DMing for a group, some of my players maybe don't have the right dice. So obviously I can lend them out any die, but it's always nice to have the official dice, especially for a free league game. You have the 20, which is rolling a demon, and you have the 1, which is rolling a dragon. And there's just that extra bit of dopamine that comes up when you see that graphic come up. And so I was like, hey, why not? It's good to have like a few extra around. And then I got home, and in my dice tray, of course, is the Dragonbane dice from the starter set. And so I just want to maybe set this up here so that you can see what we're dealing with here. So that's from the set I bought today. And then we have 2 D20s, a D10, a D12, another D4, and a D8. And in addition, you get 4 D6s. Okay, so this is what came in the starter set, and this is what came in like the little dice packet. Now, here's the worst part. This starter set that I got from the same store was $40. It's on Amazon right now in the US for $45. In this package, you get all of this. That dice, the cards, the standees, the map, the starter guide, the rules. $45 for all, just for the dice here. Okay. This little dice pack with not even the same amount of dice was $20. $20 for those 6 dice. $40 for more dice and all the other stuff. For 2 of these, I could have got an entirely other box set. So, the assumption would be, oh, well, I can go in and I can return the dice. But no, I will not be returning the dice. Because you cannot allow yourself to do something that asinine and then not pay for it. I must suffer. because if I don't suffer, I'll never learn my lesson. And this has been my policy my whole life. Now, admittedly, I've never learned a single lesson, but I'm due. I mean, it's been 40 years. I've got to learn one of these lessons at one point. So here's my lesson. Here's my $20 dice. What the hell was I thinking? Am I that much of a sucker that anything that has Dragonbane on it, I'm just going to buy it? The answer to that is yes. Whatever. Okay. So it was actually good, though, that I didn't spend too much money because I have a couple of things already en route. As I've mentioned, I got Index Card RPG coming. Already got the PDF for that. Very much looking forward to having the physical copy of that. And then I have a bunch of Kickstarter stuff that I completely forgot about and don't even remember that I ordered it. But when it comes, I'm sure it'll be exciting. I hope I still want it. But the other reason is because I already have a pretty good haul for 2024, mostly 2024. Some of these I fudged a little. I might have gotten them in 2023, but going to take a look at them now. A few of them I've mentioned before, so we'll just give a little bit of a deeper look on them. But a few of them are new, and a few of them are old books that I have, but maybe got solo rules for them. So here is my initial haul for 2024 solo RPGs so far. So the first one I want to talk about are two that I have mentioned. They work on a similar system. This is Carved by the Garden by Cassie Mothwin, The Crushing Dark by Madeline Ember. Both of these games with beautiful art. They use the Wretched or Wretched and Alone system of it's like a solo journaling thing. Carved by the Garden has this amazing sort of Rorschach ink blot art to it. I think that it has a pretty interesting system. Sometimes with these journaling games, it feels like it kind of mailed in with some of the prompts and stuff. But the prompts in this book seem really good. There's more dynamics to it. There's more possibilities with it. And I think that it has a really good day cycle. So it definitely looks worth the time. You're immersing into the woods alone. I won't show past this page because this is sort of the spoiler page right here. One of the things I really love about it, too, is that Cassie included sounds. So like being like, hey, I listened to this while I was making it, and I recommend you listen to this album on repeat, Black Hill and Silent Island, while you're going through it. So Carved by the Garden, consider picking that one up. I believe I kickstarted it, but I'll find links for all these and put them in the description. By the way, if you didn't see my post yesterday, I have a Google form that is live right now for anybody who is interested in reviewing the initial the alpha of my own solo RPG, Museum of Humankind. I'm now ready to send that out for review. So if you're interested in that, please fill out that form. Put your email in so I could send it to you, whatever email you want. I won't share it with anybody. There's some other questions on there just about the channel. You don't have to answer those. If you put your email in, I'll send you the initial a copy of it along with some questions to fill out. And then after that round, I'll make some changes, and then I will send out to see if anybody wants to play test it. And so if you review and play test it, we'll get you a copy of the PDF once it comes out. And if there's ever a physical copy of it, people who are especially helpful, we can put you in the special thanks to the book and hopefully be able to get some of you physical copies of the book. But I don't know if that will ever happen. But at the very least, you'll get to take a look at it, be a part of the process, and it would be a huge help to me. Okay. Crushing Dark, another very similar solo game. Uses the Wretched Alone. It's more journaling. And it also uses a stone tower. This is like a foundational piece of the Wretched system. Who's the Wretched system by? It is by, I know the name. Chris Bissett. Now, on one hand, I never know how I feel about the Wretched system in that a lot of them use this tumbling tower, which we all know is Jenga. And on one hand, I have such mixed feelings about it. Here's why. On one hand, it is a mechanic that perfectly mirrors what you're trying to create in the game, right? You're trying to create this like sense of tension. Something's going to happen. You don't know when it is. The situation's precarious. It's getting more precarious. So in a sense, that's what I say I want, right? Is like when a mechanic sort of reflects the theme. However, there's something about this that I don't love, because in a sense, it does reflect the theme, but at the same time, it's almost like when a movie plays very dramatic music and it is like trying to make you feel like a scene is very emotionally powerful, but you're not sure if it's the music or the actual content of the scene that's so emotional. And I feel like it's the same thing whenever I play with this system. Is like I'm going through Jenga blocks, I'm pulling them out, I'm nervous about that. I have no manual dexterity, hence why I play role-playing games. And I'm nervous about it in the same way that I would be nervous if someone came up to me and was like, hey, I'm going to pop a balloon. And even if I like saw them in front of me with the needle and they were slowly bringing it towards the balloon, I would still like cringe, because I'm not excited about a balloon popping and I'm not excited about a Jenga tower falling. And I also feel like it's just a strange, I feel like it has the potential to take me out of immersion, because I almost feel like it's accessing a different part of my brain to be playing Jenga than it is to be immersing myself in a journaling game. I feel dice in this respect are the great equalizer, in that, you know, you can't be better or worse at rolling dice, but you can definitely be better or worse using a Jenga tower. To Cassie's credit, I don't know why I said Cassie. It's not like I'm on a first name basis with this person. Cassie Mothwin puts some ideas for mobile and desktop for things to replicate this. So that's really cool. And that's just a preference of mine. That's nothing personal. Otherwise, I think both those games, really well written, beautiful art, great ideas. Now, but if you're looking for something different, and I did mention this before, but I wanted to show everyone, this is Dead Belt, an RPG for space cowboys. This is by A Couple of Drakes Zine. And this, I just cannot believe that this is not more popular. And that's not to say that it's like completely unknown. I did a search earlier today and found some people playing it, but you know, these are special games. These are awesome games. You should pick them up. But there's a lot of games, solo games, that use that Wretched and Alone and journaling system. So when there's a game that's using something different, like Derek Kamal's system for the having like running a tavern, that is going to be that's just a different thing than normally you're doing in other solo games, different considerations. And yes, it borrows, Broken Casket borrows from like different systems like 4AD and stuff, but it has so many novel things as well. And I just really appreciate that. It's what I'm trying to do with my own RPG. And so I just think that this RPG deserves some more attention, because it's got so many novel systems. The first thing, God forgive me, but I have to say it, when I opened this book, I was like, oh, cool, Pop-Tarts. I don't know what that says about me. If you saw Pop-Tarts too, perhaps we need help, or perhaps we need a Pop-Tart. This one's strawberry. Obviously, you play with playing cards, 6-sided dice, some tokens. And this is one of the games that, looking at it, really convinced me that playing cards can fit well into an RPG system. Colossal, when I first saw Colossal, I wasn't very convinced of that. But then over time, I warmed up to it through Colossal, and we'll actually talk about that. There are some interesting stats in this game. There is grit, gear, glow, gas, and load. I wish that they were all started with G. Secondary stats: cred, upkeep, upgrades, debt, investments. So what's interesting about this game is it's like you have a payday, and your job is to like go to these dead ships called birds in this game that are floating in space. You build them using these deck plans. And this is where it's really cool, in my opinion, is all these different deck plans. You're going to lay out your playing cards in a certain order. There's 4 tiers. Each of them have a different amount of cards, different designation or class. And they have these mechanisms for like which direction you're rolling in, what direction a threat is coming in. And essentially you're trying to you're trying to salvage as much of these ships as you can, whilst turning these cards and revealing almost like you're traveling down the ship's corridor. I think that that is a really clever system in a really interesting way. You designate one as sort of an airlock. And then on top of that, you have these threats that are either pursuing you or just kind of going haywire. And depending on what card you draw, the suit of it, it's going to move either in your direction, away from you, appears adjacent to you, moves towards the airlock, whatever. And so it's giving you this very simple system of controlling these threats, which can be an alien, rival scavengers, rogue AI, murderous ghosts, merciless pirates, nanite swarms, or $20 Dragonbane dice. Whatever the threat is, whatever is looming large in your life, it's got that coming after you. And then on top of that, you have the bigger, I guess, maybe less existential, more practical threat of like, you have to pay back the debt. And so you're trying to get cred, you're trying to maintain your own ship, you got upgrades, you got different character classes. You can have like, there's, let's see here. Your belter can be a vet, a cowboy, a void rat, a slicer, a scoundrel, a resk tech, a rookie. You get a ship of your own, the killdeer, the jackdaw, the albatross. You have a bank system. You can take emergency loans. And then in the back, this art is great. This is great. The paper is great. It's a little bit, it looks a little bit glossy on some pages, but for the most part, it's just nice stock paper. It's not that expensive. I think I got this on Amazon. The oracles in the back here are really nicely laid out. Everything is clear. So I think this game should get a little bit more attention. I think this is a pretty awesome game. So please check out Dead Belt. One Shot Dungeon is an RPG that was recommended to me. I'll just show you the person's name. It was recommended to me by this this YouTube user. I've never heard that name before in any other capacity. I don't know of any other performers or any gamers that have that name. But anyways, thank you, Sasha, for the recommendation for One Shot Dungeon. Just got this yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to look through it yet. But one of the things I find interesting about One Shot Dungeon is the layout of this is so homebrewed that there is like just, it's hard to see, but it's literally like photocopies of this person's own pen drawings. And for the price, I'm not at all offended by that. This was very economical. And to me, this is very inspiring because and I hope it's inspiring to you too, because this was a game recommended to me, and this is not the first time I've seen it. So this means that multiple people like this game, and yet this game could have been made on a typewriter, right? And it's like 21 pages. Here's the character sheet. There's no design. There's no fancy stuff. And so for me, it's just kind of inspiring to say, like, if any of you have ever sat down and been like, okay, I want to make a game. I got to make it good. I got to make sure you really don't. I mean, if your stuff's good, just put it to print, man. Just type it out, photocopy some pictures, and like, you can get people to play your game. So we'll look into that. It is a solo dungeon delving RPG. I did not cut my teeth on like dungeon delves. I know that some of you, this is like your home base, is kind of like rolling and seeing what kind of room or a hallway and then mapping that out. And that is like what feels most germane to you in terms of role playing. I never had my home there. I don't quite feel like my role-playing home is in modern times either. I'm not like, I enjoy role-playing. Obviously, I have a solo channel where I'm talking to myself. But for me, combat was always like a really great part. Loot is something I'm always looking for. Dialogue between characters is really great. Character development is really great. But just like dungeon drawing, I do get like a little bit nervous about that. And so anyways, all the more reason that I want to give this one a shot, because it looks like it's going to be the nuts and bolts of setting up a quick, easy dungeon. I definitely have mentioned Karn and Karn. I feel weird saying that word because I feel like I'm saying it wrong, but also when I try to say it right, I feel weird. Karn. Um, and Runekarn. As I stated before, I waited on getting this before until I was able to get a soft cover. The hard cover is just out of my price range, but if you're really into it, this is an Exalted Funeral, and it's by Odin's Beard. They also, from what I know, they're releasing an updated version of this. If somebody could tell me, I would like to know, is there a relationship between this and this, or is it just using the system? Because there's also Karn 2E is right now, as of July, I think, was in like playtesting phase. So I don't know. From what I can tell, the person who does Karn is, I always am going to butcher their name, and I apologize, but I saw a couple interviews with Yokai Gal, and just really, really cool person who's really with it. This right now is $3 on Amazon. I almost bought the color version of it. Not the color version of it. I'm sorry. I almost bought like several copies of it just to give out because I think it's like $4. Another one that's very cheap. I'm not sure if it's $4, by the way. I don't want to check on that. It's not very expensive. Another one that's not very expensive that's really good is White Box. That's the one I was going to buy the color version of. But again, if you like OSR, that's a really good one. Runekarn has solo rules. And, you know, as we've talked about before, some games that have solo rules, it's like pretty half-assed. They're just like, yeah, to play this game solo, just yell at your dog, and if the dog walks away, that's a yes. If it stays, that's a no. But this is actually really good. Not too many pages, but does a lot in the space that it has. The solo play instructions here, reading the runes, which is basically like the oracle. There's ones for favor or sorrow, focus, emotion. And this delve generator is really good. There's an objective generator, 6 different ones for like different locations, and really nice sort of algorithm or flow chart for your delve. Different ones for encounters. This encounter one is amazing because it has so many options right across the top: treasure, mystery, mundane, obstacle, conflict, and then it has one for Karn, outpost. I keep saying Karn because I'm thinking of the World Eaters. Anyways, ruins, village, cave, stronghold. So really, you can make a lot of different combinations with just these tools here. And then it has another one for cooperation as well. Little bit of a throwback. I know I've shown you all Vermis before. And boy, this is by Plastaboo. And boy, do I wish that this was a game. In the words of Daniel from Dungeon Dive, I think said it best. He was like, while I'm reading this, I just wish so badly that this was a game that I could play. I feel the same way. It is so interesting, cryptic, spooky, weird, nuanced. This is a piece of art that somebody is like one of my favorite things when somebody is essentially like, I don't give a shit what anyone thinks about my ideas. These are my ideas. These are things that go through my head. And this is Vermis is definitely that. A light sparks in the dark. Which flesh is your flesh? Who is among us has not asked themselves that? And basically this is made up almost like, even if you look at the front, it's like those awesome little handbooks that used to come in NES or Game Boy games. It even kind of looks like that, if you remember that. And it's so interesting because this world, you're just able to peek in it as if this game was real, and it's not. And then as you're reading it, you're like, God, why can this game not exist? It rules. But that said, I mean, there's so much in here that can be used to generate settings and characters and campaigns. The reason why I show this again is because for Christmas, I got the updated one. It's a slightly different size here. This is Vermis 2 Mist and Mirrors. It is slightly thicker and just as weird and awesome as the first. It expands even more. It has different layouts for the Dead Sun Shrine, the Plague House, the Tower of Decay, the Maze of Ashes, the Hidden Temple. And it's just has such... I love the idea of like world building, and it's like this building, this world exists in this person's head. They're building it and they're giving us a peek into it, but we're only able to look through like little keyholes of light at these different pieces of it and going, oh man, one of the enemies is called the Lord of Worms and the Living Cage. Like, what is that like? The mouths of living cages are open at all times, offering a view of their interiors in order to intimidate those who oppose them with the pained expressions of their captives. And there's these little like icons on the bottom that mean something. And here's these archetypes: the torso, the wound, the cursed one. If you live in the United States, it does take a little while for this to arrive, but I just cannot recommend this enough. It is so fascinating. The art is so good. It's like a combination between pixel art and sort of beautiful mosaic paintings. So that's Vermis, Mist and Mirrors. Got this from my girlfriend for Christmas. No, you can't have her. Only I get the cool girlfriend who buys me Vermis for Christmas. Okay. Wrapping up new additions here. I did show Colossal before. This is a very polarizing solo game. I noticed that some of you like really stan Colossal and really want me to play it, and some of you are like, please do not play this game. And as I look through the instructions for it, I'm like, yeah, I definitely see why some people would take issue with this. The system is unique. In some ways, you might say that it's like kind of limited. The stats are exploration score and combat score. I don't necessarily have a problem. I mean, the solo game I made has effectively no stats, so that's not a problem for me. The prompts look pretty good, but I will say that it did feel a little bit incomplete, and the rookling system didn't make tons of sense. But what I was told, what Geek Gamer said, and I agree after reviewing this, that getting this add-on, the Roomlands, definitely makes the game feel more complete. And now that I have this, props to Nick Angel, the maker of this. This is just an excellent add-on and has some additional characters here. You get the Allied, who are related, the Bastion. You get entirely new rooms of the Colossal. You get the Tundroom, new encounters for that. You get new armor, the ice carapace, exploring different areas. And it just kind of gives you like the diversity of different places that were sort of promised in the first Colossal. Because the whole point of the first Colossal is like you enter this castle that's as big as a world. It's endless. It's got all these terrains. But we didn't fully explore what that meant. I mean, we could generate that on our own, but this gives more of a guide. Here's the different biomes: desert, swamp, forest, mountains, tundra, jungle, plains, etc. And the great city of Parapet. And so it gives, I feel like, more definitive instructions. We got maps. Don't want to spoil too much because I know there's a part, I think it's in this one as well, that says like, don't read beyond this if you're not ready to play. Maybe not, but anyways, oracles here. There's instructions for 2-player co-op. They've all, it's, props to Nick for this game. There's really impressive, just kind of the fact that he's selling from his website and has playing cards there, books, different like merch and stuff. It's really, really well done. And so, yeah, it's very interesting because even I just take a note every time I search for Colossal in my email just to see, like, because like my YouTube comments come through email, and it's so interesting because I'll scroll through like several emails and it'll just one comment will be like, oh, you must play Colossal, please play Colossal, and then other ones will be like, please don't play this game no more. And so it's very interesting. From my perspective, it looks really, really cool. The feeling that I got in the first time that I played the base game was I felt like I was doing a lot for the game, right? I felt like, the hardcover book, very nice. The art, very, very nice. Obviously, a lot of effort goes into this. But it seemed at times like the game's reach exceeded its grasp. Like, in order to play it successfully, there's a lot that I had to fill in, a lot of things that I had to figure out. And sometimes I'm willing to do that. But sometimes I'm kind of like, for what this thing is presenting itself as, I want a little bit more completeness. And I believe that the Roomlands does that. Okay. So, who knows if we'll see this on the channel. I'm always just sort of flirting with the idea of it. I guess I'll get it over with. And if not everyone wants to watch it, that's just really okay. That's totally okay. Next one that I've had for a while is another Free League game, Vasin, a Nordic horror game. And this is actually my girlfriend's copy, but if I haven't gone through this before, this has this like sort of awesome Dragonbane adjacent art here that I really love. That Free League just puts out such a great product. I mean, it just feels so good in your hands. And the game is built around, if you don't know it, it's built around these Nordic folk tales of these Vasin, which are these sort of spirits that live within the forest. And in one hand, you're sort of investigating them, and you can encounter them, and there could be conflicts between them. Or maybe some of them won't be threatening. There's mental injuries, exhausted, frozen facial muscles, whitened hair, feelings of worthlessness, right? It's a really cool system. And I always see on, what's that site called? Like Start Playing Now. That it's a really nice system, and I should really play it. But the reason I'm bringing it up today is because, let's see if I can... Okay, yeah. So I did pick up the solo rules for this, which is available on DriveThruRPG, and it's called Thursday's Child, and it's not too big. I think, let's see how many pages, 12 pages. But again, I think it lays out the cycle really well. It has some good oracles here, and it's a mystery, so it's going to be a little bit different. If you wanted to play a solo game that wasn't dungeon diving, or it wasn't just like combat, high fantasy, sci-fi, this might be a really good one. It gives you an example of a journal, creating a scene, how to do NPCs, mental state, another example journal, and then kind of propagates the direction of the mystery based on drawing of playing cards. And then there's this keyword system, which I really like, kind of like you do 3 rolls and you put together more or less a sentence and then have to interpret it. And then also discovering a Vasin, getting clues for that as you try to track them down, more journal examples. So, here's these tables that are lined up in the back. Lots of examples. This is really good to put so many example journals in here. So, that could be a pretty cool, time. I just recently got that, so I want to check it out. And then the last one here, also Free League. Please, I don't work for Free League. I just happen to like their game that has like hot chocolate powder on it. Maybe this is the One Ring. And now the One Ring is really interesting because, as you probably know, there's like a 5e setting that's Lord of the Rings. I generally don't love to play RPGs within settings that are already established. And I tried playing like Star Wars RPG once. I didn't love it. I tried playing the 5e Lord of the Rings. I didn't love it because I felt like the setting is already overdetermined. Like I already know what that character is going to do. I already know that character's fate. I already know what kind of decision they were going to make. So I feel like it's like a little bit stodgy when you play that. That might be different now if I gave it another chance. But the One Ring is good in a sense because it takes place in this time that is between I believe between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. And so it's a little bit like, it's inspired obviously by Tolkien's writings. It's licensed to that, but at the same time, it allows you that like sort of wiggle room that you can create your own stories from it. And you're not having to constantly be like, okay, well, I guess that like I already know what happens to Peregrine Took or whatever, and so I don't want to do that with that character. And instead, you have more of a freedom for that. Now, this game is not necessarily a solo game. I think it's one of those games that would be pretty easy to convert into a solo game. But boy, I got to tell you, I'm getting like really the idea of going through a book like this after like playing games that are this big and then being like, okay, let me sit down how to learn a game. Holy God. But again, the reason why I'm giving another look to this is because, oh boy, don't tell me I don't have it. Oh, there we go. I did also recently get Strider mode for the One Ring. This is also a guide for solo role playing with One Ring. And this one is a little bit bigger than the Vasin one. It's about 26 pages. And it's going to give you some different options for playing. And this is an important piece of the mechanics, is you have a patron. And this is just one of the sort of mechanics that allows you to be successful in the solo play, right? Because it's kind of like in Dragonbane, you need this extra heroic ability because it's going to be harder for you. But yeah, I think again, this patron is going to give you some quests, so it's again very similar to Dragonbane, in which you're going to have like Inglefur giving you quests in Deepfall Breach, but very similar to the Vasin one, just maybe different terms for it. Like this is the telling table, which is pretty much an oracle table. That's like, will this happen or not? If I'm not mistaken, there are specific dice for this game, and I don't want to say anything incorrect, so I could be wrong, but I believe that there was something about this game where like the dice that it came with were printed wrong at the beginning. If anyone knows anything about that, or if I'm thinking of a different game, please let me know. So yeah, this is Strider mode. I know that a lot of people have played this, really enjoy playing this. Yeah, so this is pretty much what I'm working with. The last thing I just want to mention is, and this again is not a solo game, but I do have this on the way. I picked the cheapest shipping because shipping right now is, I don't know what's going on. Are they shipping in like blimps or like tanks or something, that it's costing $100 to ship something like down the block? I don't know, but I chose the lowest level of shipping for my ICRPG book, and it's such bad shipping that it's like it'll get there between like 1 day and 6 weeks, and there's no tracking, and like good luck. And it was still like $17. So this is a Runehammer game. Lot of stars on this. You got Brandish Gilhelm. Kelsey Dion did one of the modules. She is of Shadow Dark fame, I'd say so. And she was on Me, Myself, and Die, so I would say that would be making it big in my mind. This is a massive resource, 400 pages. The layout of it is so intriguing. I used to pick this book up at the game store all the time and be like, should I get this? Because I'm very often turned off by this kind of approach, like this little like marker dabbing, very like little comic stripping, very familiar, casual interaction. But I saw it at a good price where I got the PDF instantly, and I got a copy of the game coming sometime before the apocalypse, hopefully. And just paging through this is so interesting. And there is so many things in this game that I'm like, do I love this or do I hate this? But either way, it's super interesting. And the idea of it, why this game was made, was because it's like wanted to simplify the role-playing game process. So the game sacrifices some level of specificity. I think as the creator calls it, like you lose some definition or resolution in some of the things, but that it doesn't matter much. And so if you've reviewed this, you probably know where I'm going to go for this with this, but some of these choices, I just don't know what to think about it. I'm like, is this a great idea or is this like defeating the purpose? So right here is a good summary. First of all, you play in clockwise turns. Now you could free play at any time, right? Obviously there's a game master or whatever, but otherwise combat, you enter a building, what's your first action? You just go in order like it's a board game around the table. And I have to say, as a GM, that is like very alluring to some extent, especially when you're playing with a group that is not super comfortable with like immersing themselves in dialogue with one another or doing that kind of role playing, because it you know, I feel what happens sometimes with those kind of groups is you'd be like, okay, you see like a an entrance to a cave across the field. There's an inn next to you. What do you want to do? And people are just silent. And then one person's like, why don't we just like go to the inn? And everyone's like, that's fine. And you just feel like that's not how this group of characters would settle that. And so it'd be interesting to just go, okay, player one, what are you going to do? Player two, what are you going to do? And then obviously allowing crosstalk. But the other interesting thing that they say about it is battle just goes in this clockwise turn. And perhaps you can like roll for initiative in terms of who goes first. But once you figure out who goes first, you just go clockwise. And so they said that part of the strategy is determining the initial seeding of the players. Now, when I first heard this, I was like, geez, I'm crow. You're not telling me that like every time you have to roll for combat that people are like getting up and moving around the table. That's not what it means. It just means like at the beginning of the session, you have to make these strategic considerations such as like, wow, maybe we can put like the healer right before the DM because the DM is controlling the NPC characters, the monsters. And so we want to make sure everyone's healed up before these attacks happen. I don't know. Could be interesting. There is this simplified category of effort in this. And what happens with the dice roll is it short-circuited me. It's still short-circuiting me a little bit. Here's what it is. Targets. ICRPG, Index Card RPG, combines all roll targets into a single number at the table. Furthermore, there are just a few numbers that even need to be considered. So I want you to think about this for a second. When you walk into a room and you're playing ICRPG, everyone in that room is like a 12 is their target. So you have to like roll above a 12 or below or whatever it is. That's it. And if there are factors about the player that like either make that, whether that's a monster or a task or whatever it is, harder or easier, you could say, okay, that's a hard target, it's +3, or it's an easy target, it's -3. And that's it. So again, as a DM, thinking from that mindset, I'm like, oh my gosh, what a dream come true. I would just walk in a room and be like, everything here is 12. Traps are 12. The monsters are 12. Everything's 12. And what Runehammer would say is like, yeah, okay, you're going to lose some of the specificity, but like, does it really matter that much? Does like the difference between 12 and 15 really matter? Now, I can think of some situations where it definitely does, right? If I have like minions and a boss, I'm not going to say that all of these guys are 12. And I might even have a hard time saying that this one's like hard, because this one, sometimes I'll have something in a room that is 3 or 4 times more difficult than what else is in the room. But the goal of this is to present these clean stats. And you do a check against a target. That's a one-off, success or failure. And then anything that requires like multiple efforts, you're going to do attempts. So this would be like the example of a door that you have to knock down. You have several attempts. The door is like losing HP or whatever until it finally breaks. There's 6 core stats. And man, the dice system again is hot. I am like really compelled by this, but I just don't know. We'll get to the dice in a second. So yeah, a lot of these things are in other games, but they're just very simplified and I think very well explained. It's very clear that the maker of this game, who's like just like a boss in terms of RPG making, knows their stuff. Okay. And so action, move, and then an action or move far. So the distances are like here, near, far, too far. 3 kinds of actions, checks, and attempts. Okay. Lots of good information in terms of like FAQ type stuff. Yeah, here's like hard, meter beat, target +3. Easy is meter beat, target -3. And that's it. Now, another awesome thing is that the dice, in terms of combat, are fixed. So the D4 is always going to be a basic attack with like a punch, or if it's just bending bars with your bare hands, you roll the D4. That's the effort. If you have a weapon or a tool for doing a task or fighting, D6. Guns, D8. Magic and energy, D10. And then you have an ultimate. When you get a natural 20 or a crit, you use a D12 in addition to whatever the initial attack or attempt was. And that's what those dice are throughout the whole game. Now, this part is what loses a lot of people. I really do vibe with what the intent is that each heart is equal to 10 effort. And one of the things the creator says, like, look, I've been playing probably like video games like Zelda and stuff. Hearts to me just mean HP. And so like, let's just use hearts. Let's simplify it down. Why deal with 34 of something when you could say like 2? Here's the distances. Now, the last thing I'll say, and as you all know, this is probably not the last thing I'll say, but it's getting close, is that I was just, whatever you think of this system. And again, I know that some of you have already been playing this. I'd like to know what you think about it, because I'm curious about like what actual plays look like. But what I want to say is that I am just amazed at how much value is in this book. Now, it's a little bit, I think the master edition, which came out a year ago, is like $40 or $50. But this is a hardcover book. It's 400 pages. And I believe it has 6 settings, like full, completely realized settings. It has a bestiary. I'm trying to find if we can. Yeah, here's the worlds. It has like a sci-fi setting. It has a fantasy setting, which is like Elfheim. It has all different kinds that are fully populated with like ideas. Look how much, like, I've been scrolling forever and I'm still on just Elfheim. All right. And then there's a sci-fi one that's the Warp Shell. And each of these has classes, weapons, and loot. Let's see what else we got. Oh, I just, doesn't matter because I just clicked the wrong thing. But, and then at the end, for each of these locations, for these worlds, we have locations, obstacles, and you're going to have different weapons, tons of loot, tons of different story pieces, tons of gear. Look at this, quotes, random quotes, tons of tools here that could be used by the solo gamer. I haven't, I'm not sure. Maybe I found one, but I have not seen a lot of ICRPG solo play. I'm curious if anyone has done that. But yes, so that is pretty much so far what we're dealing with in 2024. I'm certain that we'll see some of these. Please let me know in the comments below if there's any that I do need to still pick up, especially if there's any new ones coming, because I would be very excited to hear about that. Any that I missed, any feedback or anything like that. But otherwise, thank you again, and can't wait to continue our Dragonbane solo quest, episode 7.2 coming soon. All right, everybody, take care.